unique week this week as we thought we were preparing for North Texas after a big win against UAB and coming in and playing a really explosive offensive football team in North Texas. And then Thursday when we got the word that game wasn't going to be played, we kind of closed the book and put it in the filing cabinet and said we're going to have the opportunity to pull it out in December. And we immediately got into a little bit of an open date mindset for 3 days, for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We practiced Thursday, Friday in shorts. And then we came out on Saturday in full pads and really had a physical, long team scrimmage. I wanted to keep them in a mindset of Thursday and Friday were lighter. Saturday was our heavy day of banging. And then Sunday we got right back into our game plan week with Rice. As a coaching staff, we spent some time in some self-scout things, looking at some things that we need to do better, maybe some tendencies that we may have that we need to try and break. And what we need to do to give our players a better chance out on the field. And then when we came in, the second part of that, we started with Rice and getting ready for this game this week. It's been a crazy season. It's definitely been unique, and it's definitely been different. There have been a lot of things about it that I've really enjoyed, having the opportunity to get on the field and play, but there's a lot of things that are really frustrating, as we've talked a lot about kind of the lack of development and the lack of growth and all the spring practices and summer and fall camps where you really have a chance to develop your players. But getting into, we got as much of that as we could on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then getting ready for Rice this week. Rice is, Mike Bloomgren's done a great job there. He's been there now going into his third year. You can really start to see his stamp on everything. They're a very physical football team, both on the offensive and defensive lines. They have great balance in what they're trying to do this year on offense. They have a transfer quarterback who's got a big leg arm, who's throwing for about 230 a game. I think they're rushing for about 190 a game. But they have balance as a football team in both run and pass. They have bigger sets. They give you multiple formations. They're gonna challenge our defense with all the different sets and formations that they give you, and then what they do. Once you get your safeties involved in the running game, they're good enough outside. I think the wide receiver, number 10, is explosive. He's caught twice as many passes as anybody else. Their second and third leading receivers are their tight ends. They're a good offensive football team, and they're scoring a lot of points. I think they're in the top 3 or 4 in pretty much every offensive category in our conference right now after 2 games, playing both Middle Tennessee and Southern Miss. Defensively, same thing. I mean, last year this was a 23-20 overtime win for us at their place. We had to fight for every point we got, every yard we got. They're very physical up front. They've got pretty much, I think there's 10 guys that played against us last year that are starting on this defense. So they've got a football team that's very experienced. They've had a lot of time together. They're playing really well together. They're very physical, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. We're excited we have the opportunity to play at home, an afternoon game. Supposed to be a beautiful day, 75 degrees, sunny, red out. So, I mean, we're just looking forward to what we need to do to get everybody ready to play this week and go out there and compete against Rice on Saturday.
Hey, Skip. Obviously the game this past weekend got postponed, and you're the team that you'll have to play next weekend in Shreveport's dealing with COVID-19 related issues as we speak. As this season goes along, does your confidence level of being able to get the team on the field each and every Saturday and play a football game, does it dwindle at all, that knowing everything around you's kind of going through this stuff?
Well, I don't know that it dwindles. As I said, it's been crazy. It's been frustrating. You really never know who you have until you put the ball on the tee on Saturday, as evidenced by we lost our 2 starting tackles a couple of weeks ago right before the UTEP game, and had to go play where somebody else had to step up and didn't get the week of work. So every Saturday when we put the ball on the tee, I take a deep breath and I say congratulations to our staff. We've made it to another game. We have the opportunity to enjoy this great game that we all love so much and be part of. But every week you have a different team. Every week you have new challenges. Every week you have a new opponent. There's there's not many stable variables week in and week out. From that standpoint, yes, it's frustrating. I think you see a lot of people going through some COVID-related issues. I think the whole country's gone through some COVID-related issues. You see areas of the country really starting to spike. I think I believe there were 4 Conference USA games postponed last week, postponed or canceled the week after Halloween. And so I think every week's a new challenge. But, yeah, it's part of what we have to deal with right now. And if that's what we have to deal with to play, I think then we got to find a way to make it work. I think when this season started, we were all really excited that we were going to have the opportunity to play until the 4-letter word contact tracing came out, and then we all started realizing what we were dealing with and what the rules were and how we had to go forward. And we're all trying to adjust and trying to do our part to be safe, to be responsible with our student athletes, to try and create our bubble, to protect not only the people on our football team, but the people on campus and the people in our community as well. I think we have a social responsibility with this, and so we've been trying to do all we can. Every week, you've got a handful of guys that are out and a handful of guys that are back, and I think that's more prevalent than injuries this year, as you see some people going to play football games without 20 players on their roster, which is pretty significant week in and week out.
Ben? Coach, I think I was looking through some of the game notes, and you guys are, I believe it's 9-3 in one-score games over the last 3 years. What would you attribute so much of y'all's success in those one-score games?
Great players overcoming poor coaching, I would say, would probably be the analogy. But we've got a group of players that they compete extremely hard, and we say that, and I don't ever want to take that for granted. But we got a group of guys that they want to be good. They work extremely hard, just like last week when we were down, Southern Miss when we were down. They've truly bought into the mindset that the game's not over until it hits zeros across the board. And I think they're competing extremely hard week in and week out, and I think just as evidenced by Milton Williams, who was here a minute ago, and the leadership role that really I watched him come alive in the fourth quarter of the UAB game, and watched one guy pretty much say, "Get on my back, let's go." He grabbed the flag and ran up the hill, and everybody followed him. And a great story of leadership, and to see him come out of his shell, to see the role that he played. But that happened because he wants to win, and sometimes you have to face adversity to find out how bad you want something. And this football team has had some adversity. We've been in some close football games. They're all going to be close right now with where everybody is, and you just got to find a way to win the game at the end, and that's what this football team has done. I think the coaches do a tremendous job in preparing our players, but most importantly, I think the players, they have a fire in their belly and they want to win, and I think that's evidenced by winning so many of these close games.
Oh.
Coach, coming off the big win, getting ready for North Texas, and then COVID, Lucy yanks the football out from under you. Is there any concern? I mean, how do you keep that momentum going after a surprising week?
I think this football team has handled a little adversity when you talk about what we went through with the hurricane and what we went through and having to cancel the Baylor game, etc. I think everybody understands where we are. You have to do your best to prepare each and every week, but I said it before, and it's been my line with this team. New team, new week, or new week, new team, new challenges. And Thursday, that was my message to them. We have a new team, we have a new week, and we have new challenges this week. We've got to take this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and not take it as days off and let's just go through the motions, but let's take this time and get some of these young guys. I know you were talking about some of the defensive guys in the youth with Deshaun Hall and Keevy Rose on the defensive line, a guy like Tyler Grubbs, even Mackie Carabin is a redshirt freshman. Some of the offensive linemen we've been trying to get work when you start talking about Dakota White as a freshman and some of the new players and Michael Goss, etc. Just trying to make the most of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we came in Sunday and said, you know what, hit the reset button It's race week. Let's go. Well, let's do what we do. Let's make sure we get in here. Let's watch the film. Let's put the game plans together. Let's prepare. Knowledge is power. Let's come in and watch as much film as we can of our opponent. Let's go out and have a great work week on Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll walk through Thursday, fast Friday, and then get ready to play the game on Saturday. And having the opportunity to play at the Joe here at home is always a reward. So I know we're excited about having that opportunity. And with it being red out, I know it's a special game when we're going to have the opportunity to wear the red unis.
Corey?
Skip, just in the last couple of weeks, maybe the biggest difference you've noticed in Aaron Allen is do you maybe see maybe a different light in his eyes now that he's had the opportunity to be able to accomplish the things that he's accomplished the last couple of weeks?
There's always been a light in Aaron's eye, and I say that from a standpoint that he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the quarterback. He wants to get in there. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to be in a game-deciding play, and he wants to be involved. I haven't seen that waver, and that's one of the things that I love about him. I think when I look at Aaron does a great job. He's seeing the field really well. Sometimes he tries to make too much happen, but I think he's really doing a good job of just continuing to develop and evolve. He was excited. I see probably a little more pep in his step because he did have the opportunity to play, and he's going to continue to play. But it's also all these positive things that we see in Aaron now are the very reason that we wanted to have the opportunity to roll two quarterbacks, because we feel like we have two quarterbacks that are good enough and capable to win. And the thing I get excited about is every time Aaron Allen plays, it's one more snap and investment in the future. And I think he's done a really nice job. And I think him and Luke have handled this two quarterback system extremely well, very professional with what they do, cheering for each other. And I think it's because of the character of both young men that the system has worked playing both quarterbacks. But make no mistake, I think both quarterback wants to be the guy. Both quarterback wants to play the entire game and be out there when the game's on the line. But certainly Aaron has done a really nice job, and I think everybody can see just the talents and abilities that he has. I think he's very calm under pressure. He's very cool under pressure. And if we can just keep him playing in the system, taking what a defense gives him and not trying to predetermine where he's going with the ball or force the ball down the field, then I think Aaron is going to be an exceptional quarterback during his time here at Louisiana Tech.
Any other questions? Oh, Corey, there we go.
Thought I was out, Corey.
Skip, I guess, before we actually started playing games this year, because I know you like to prepare as best as you possibly can, did you have sort of a game plan in place of, say, we got 2-3 weeks in and then you ran into the situation that we ran into last weekend where the game didn't happen and you had to sort of kind of reshuffle maybe your practice schedule or what you worked on during practice a little bit?
Yeah, the advantage was we know we still have the opportunity to play North Texas. That was one of the advantages. So the work and the practice time that we put in Sunday through Thursday went into a file, and we push it off to the side of the desk, and we know we're going to have an opportunity to dust that off in 4 weeks and bring it back. So I thought it was good work. But any time that we have a chance right now, it's a spring practice mentality. It's a fundamental practice. It's a developmental practice. Maybe have the opportunity to get some guys that have played so many plays and have some bumps and bruises, trying to get them not as much work, but to get the young guys. We have to continue to create depth on this football team, because you never know when it's going to rear its head and it's going to have to play again. You never know who's going to be out. We've seen players who have now contracted for the second time that maybe are out. So you think, well, I've already had it, so I'm safe. It's not the measles. You can get it again, And so right now we just have to continue to develop depth and be safe, and everybody's got to take the social responsibility to wear their masks so we can protect not only yourself, but to protect each other. But we just have to develop depth on this football team. I am so looking forward when this season is over of taking this football team and these young guys to see how much farther ahead they're going to be with all the game experience, but then to really watch this team come together together through spring practice and another fall camp for the 2021 season. I think every play, every game that we have an opportunity to invest in this year is an investment into our future right now. And so I think the team has done a great job of handling it. We were introduced to this at the very beginning of the year. We certainly didn't start off with a routine fly ball. You know, I mean, when you look at it, we had to cancel a game. We lost our 1AA opponent or our FCS opponent. We had to schedule another one. All of a sudden, BYU got thrown onto the schedule. I mean, everything got changed, and I think we got a little taste then of what this season was going to look like. And with the adage, you got to keep your knees bent and stay flexible because things are going to change, especially in 2020 with COVID and the rules and what we have to go through to try and play the game.
Anything else, guys? Corey?
Skip, I think, and there might be some more guys that I'm missing, but I think IG and Zeke will be back and ready to play this weekend.
They will. Both IG and Zeke will be back, as well as Tristan Allen. So it'll be great, you know, having to play against UAB, and you're moving Khalil Ladler down to the nickel position. You're real thin at safety. Wayne Toussaint had to step up and play more of a major role for us with IG being out. And you lost not only two really talented players that have been instrumental in our success here over the last couple of years, but you're talking about two seniors that are great leaders, that have led by example, that have been vocal leaders, that have really done a nice job. So it'll be great to have those guys back, not just because of their play, but because of their leadership as well. And so it'd be really nice to hold on to those three or have those three back, and then kind of keep our fingers crossed and hold our breath every time we take a test this week, that we can make sure that we can be as healthy as we can going down the stretch here in our final 4 games.
Coach, that's actually a good piggyback off of Corey's question. I'm actually doing a feature this week on IG. Last year he led the team with, yards per catch. He adds an explosive element to the offense. What can you say? Like, what does he add to this team? And, how excited are you to have him back this week?
Well, I think you start with the speed and athleticism that he possesses, as you talked about what he's done here on the football field and the success that he's had. But I think the biggest role that IG plays on this football team is his work ethic and his leadership. I think he's one of those guys that you want to take your freshman and say, follow that guy every day. Try and do everything you can to be like him, to be the type of student he is, involved in the community service hours, just works as hard as anybody we have in our program. I think that's one of the biggest legacies that he will leave behind, and that's not to diminish the role that he's played for us on the field and the talent that he has on the field, as you talked about his numbers. But I just think he's an outstanding character, young man. He's always got a smile on his face. He's upbeat. He's a positive joy to be around on this football team. And as a leader, I think he's got an incredible amount of respect from his teammates because of the way that he works and the way that he shows up every day. And whether IG catches 20 balls or whether IG catches 1 ball, he's got very high standards for himself and what he wants to be and what his expectations are of his level of play on the field. But his attitude never changes. I mean, he shows up and works every single day. And for that, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And I think it's guys like IG that have laid a foundation that have made this football program, have given this football program the opportunity to be successful year in and year out, because we've had a lot of good players come and go. But I think it's just the intangible attributes that some of these seniors leave behind that the underclassmen can emulate in trying to move forward that has kept our program at a really high level over the last 7 years.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Guys, anything else? All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Coach.